Hello everyone, I'm June the Happy Thai Girl. Today I'll show you how to make beef stroganoff. This hearty and yummy dish is so easy to make and it will take you just 30 minutes from start to finish. So join me on Cooking Made Easy with June, brought to you by Macy's, the happy shopping store in Spanish Fork. Hello everyone, welcome to Cooking Made Easy with June. Today we're making beef stroganoff. So I teach special ed, if you didn't know that already, at a junior high. And my kids, I mentioned to them about beef stroganoff and they said they've never heard of it, they've never eaten it. I'm like, whoa, maybe it's just a little old-fashioned, dish. Maybe just the old folks know about it, but I know about it and I love it. So the first thing we need to do, because the noodles that I use I love this type of semi-homemade, almost fresh, and it takes like 18 minutes to cook. So we first need to go ahead and start by boiling the water. And when I boil water for any noodles or pasta, whatever, I love to add maybe a teaspoon of salt, depending on how much. And then I like to add a little bit of olive oil so that it doesn't stick as much. And the salt, to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but it really helps it boil more quickly. And of course, you need to cover it. So I'm going to move that over to another stove and start the heat. Okay, so put it on high and cover it. Okay, that's going. So now I'm going to, I like to prep everything first. So we're going to first cut the meat. And of course, they had a sale at Macy's, and this beautiful, gorgeous steaks are what I'm going to first cut up. And now it takes a pound for the recipe, but I'm going to make a lot because we have a lot of hungry people today. And also I have my family, you know how it is. I just love to make everything so much. I don't know if it's the Asian in me or what, but I always make too much. But this is a great leftover. Now, when we're cutting beef, I like to take everything out, not just beef, but chicken. I like to take out all these little tiny things. I know, I don't know what gristles, and maybe it doesn't matter to some people. And then we like to make it thin strips. So you can just kind of bend your knuckle a little bit so you don't get that caught in your knife. So I probably need to sharpen my knife. But so the strips are about this long, so it's kind of bite-sized. So you don't want to make it too long, otherwise, you will. It would just not be good to have to cut because we're going to take bites of it. So now, some people also use ground beef, but I love steak, right? All right, everyone. I cut up all that meat, and so now I'm going to mince the garlic and onions, and then before we go and brown the meat. So the beef, when I cut them, I was very determined to not have any gristle because every bite, this is going to be, every bite, you don't want it to have anything unpleasant, ruin all your work, right? So I've cut all the gristle. What else did I do? And I just make sure that every bite is a good bite. So that was the beef, and I hear the water boiling, so I'm going to take a quick moment to put it in so that we have noodles ready when we need them. So there's all kinds. Now I've also used the noodles that are the noodles that are the regular brand. Sorry. Oh, that's not on camera. Turn off my Okay, turn it back on. So I guess you could gradually put it in the boiling water, right? So I'm gonna put my noodles in, bring it back to a boil, and stir it and let it cook for about 18 minutes. All right. So stir it really quick. There you go. Okay. So now let's do the garlic. You don't need a ton of garlic because we're going to have onions also. And so I've also used garlic that has been already peeled. I still use that on I keep a good bag, but it gets bad so easily. And also, to me, there's a little bit different taste to it, but it's still good. So if you have already peeled garlic, that would still work, okay? So I'm just gonna quickly chop this really, oh, here we go. Fine. And I also have a machine that, the little chopper that works awesome also, but sometimes, unless you're doing a lot of garlic, this is probably best and you don't have to dirty another item. So you can coarsely chop it, you can mince it. It's good enough because we're going to just get a lot of flavors from it right there, okay? So then your onion, I go through this, every segment I do onions, people have different ways to cut onions, but I like to cut the ends off and I go ahead and take this part that's not gonna taste good at all because it's kind of has a bad texture. But if you have older onion, you can even take out another layer if the onion is older because onions really last a long time, so they'll still be good even if you take off the big layer on the outside. So this is we're mostly, again, getting flavors. So I'm not gonna mince them necessarily. I'm just going to add this for the flavor. And some people, if you don't like the texture of cooked onion, I would recommend that you mince them and chop them even more into smaller pieces. But, so you could just do something like that, but you don't have to. Okay, I'm gonna put this over here. All right, so while this, and I can do more, probably this recipe, I'm doing it about quadrupling it. So you could do another onion, but for the sake of time, I'll just do that. Oh, actually, and then you can also cut your mushrooms. Mushrooms don't take long to cook, and some people don't like mushrooms, but I don't like the canned mushrooms, but I love fresh mushrooms, and in a stir fry or something like that, it's amazing. I love it. And it's beef stroganoff. It's very traditional, and it's a must to have mushrooms. So you've got to like mushrooms to have beef stroganoff. Sorry, guys. But you'll come to try it, though, because fresh mushrooms is so much different than the canned. The texture, the flavor, everything is amazing. Okay, so that's the mushroom. So now I'm going to go ahead and start the browning. So the first thing we do after we cut everything, and here's my little recipe phone, we're going to brown our beef. So you put a little bit olive oil. I like to just cover the pan, but the recipe is more specific. But you heat that up to high. Give it a minute. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get it hot, and we're going to sear all the beef, just like a quick sear, and then we're going to put it back. Okay, so I'm thinking what we need to do, though. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, I'll have most of the beef seared, and I'll show you how that will look. So because I want this to get really hot, and then I'll sear it. Okay, so we'll take a quick break. When you come back, we're going to finish searing it and do the sauce. Okay, so come back. All right, I started searing, and welcome back. I put a little salt because Bobby Flay always says season every step. So just put a tiny little bit of salt and toss it in there, okay? A little bit more. So we're going to, as you can see, I'm just searing it, like browning it, I guess, a little bit on one side, and toss it in. And I have some already done here. Woo. Oh my gosh, I need a different spatula. I always say, Peter, give me a new this, a new that. All right. Okay, that's gonna brown up, almost done. Almost like a stir fry, I suppose, because we're browning it. All right, I'm gonna put this over here. I'm gonna cut one more onion while that's finishing up over there. So it's gonna do that at the break. Okay. Sometimes when I'm doing the show, I'm like, I feel so pressured, like, am I, going too fast, going too slow? But honestly, time is just fine. And I actually, while I'm cooking, I like to take my time and turn on the TV or listen to some music, and it's just really relaxing to me when, when we're cooking. So I'm just gonna put that in here for now. We're about to put it into the stove, onto this to make our sauce. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So let's put that in here. I know there's still some pieces that are not quite there, but it's gonna be awesome still. We just wanna get a quick sear. So this process, calling searing or browning and then is actually supposedly tenderizes your beef. And I do this like when I'm making pot roast, I brown each side with a little salt and pepper before I slow cook it. I'm gonna grab something here and get this on my spatula. I need a better spatula. It gets a little tricky when it's a non-stick. Don't want to scratch it, so you need to get a firm spatula that doesn't stick to the pan. Okay, so we still have a little bit of oil in there, so I'm not gonna add any more. I'm just going to go ahead and add my garlic. Okay, this is still on high. I'm going to add my garlic. No, I can already smell that. And then the onions. And it's okay if you don't get all, like, see, because I mix the mushrooms, and if you get a little bit of each, you'll have some really cooked mushrooms in there, but that's okay. Or not enough onions. I guess I could have put them in a separate bowl, but that's fine. All right, so we got that. So now we saute the onion. Sometimes, now see, that's a little dry, so I'm going to add a little oil. Just a little bit. So we saute the onions. Sometimes when I'm in a hurry, I don't really like saute. You know how they say, saute till it's translucent. But you can just saute till it's just, you start to smell it. That's the key to, like, when things are cooking. Like, sometimes I forget I'm baking something, and I kind of forgot to put the timer on. Then I start smelling it, and I go, oh my gosh, it's almost ready, So the smell is huge. So I can smell that, and you can see the brown in there. It's amazing. So I got that sauteing. Now I'm going to add my some flour to thicken it. So I'm going to go ahead and add, oh my goodness, okay, I'll use this. I'm just gonna go ahead and add, like, according to the recipe, but I'm quadrupling, so I think it's about a tablespoon of each. Yep, okay. So let's just stir the flour in there. So we're basically browning the flour. It's called, like, it's the same process of a thickening sauce. So then we have this. So it's kind of cooking the flour so it's not chalky. It's not a lot of oil in there, that's okay. And then you add your beef broth. Now, usually it's just a cup, but I'm making it a lot. So you add your beef broth. And I don't always have beef broth on hand because I don't use it too often, but I love it's called Better Than Bouillon, and that's why it has this little bit there. And you just add like a teaspoon per cup, and it's amazing. Okay, and then, oh gosh, I forgot to add butter. No wonder. Okay, it's okay. We'll just add it now. It's gonna be all good. So, you know how I cook. I don't like to think too much. And it's all gonna turn out great. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and add my butter right now. Okay. So that's gonna add the butter. It's going to let it boil. Let it boil for a second. And let's see. Just let it boil for a minute here. Well, it doesn't have to boil. Just let it melt and get heated for the sake of time. So I anticipated how to do this, so it's okay. This is still going to be awesome. See, I even make mistakes. I don't want to think too hard. This is going to be easy. So you could put everything in there. I'm going to go ahead and this is for some veggies that I'm going to make to go with it. So we got flour, blah, 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 blah. Oh, salt and pepper. And you can always add more, but not. What I mean is I would do less, and then you can always add salt and pepper, right? Okay. So when that's coming to almost a boil and it's melting this, yeah, you can see that it's melting. Okay, now I'm going to, once it's almost melted and once it comes to a near boil, you can go ahead and add your cream. And this is also part of the thickening process. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and add my Worcestershire sauce. So we have beef broth, flour, sour cream, Worcestershire. So it says a tablespoon, so I'm going to put 4 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Haha, that's how I cook. It'll still taste awesome. A half teaspoon, so with 4 of that, it's 2 teaspoons. 1, 2, well, that's a lot, but that's okay. It'll be good, I promise. And then we're going to go ahead and add the cream. That's going to be part of the thickening. I'm going to add sour cream last. Okay. And that's it. So once it gets thickened, we're going to add our beef. So now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and add the beef to show you. And I'm going to cover it and let it simmer. And all the juices in there. Oh goodness, this is a lot of beef. I mean, a lot of food. This is truly Asian cooking. Make a lot of stuff. Okay, you guys, use a bigger pot next time if you're going to make a lot. So I'm going to cover it and let it simmer, and we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, this will be thick, and then we'll drain the noodles and we'll taste it and eat it, and it'll be awesome. Okay, so let's cover it and let it get simmered and hot, and we'll come back. Okay, take a break, come back. You've got to see the ending. Okay. All right, welcome back. I'm so excited. Okay, so it's been simmering and boiled down, so now I'm going to add my mushrooms. The mushrooms don't really take a long time to cook. So we're adding the mushrooms. In reality, you could add it. Some people want to add it and saute it, but I don't like it to be too cooked. Do you know what I mean? I like it a little bit undercooked. This is my opinion. Oops. Okay, so the mushrooms are in with a few raw onions for crunch. So that's cooking there. And I also made a side dish of broccoli and red peppers, and what you do is you put the broccoli in there, the broccoli florets, and a little salt and pepper, and a little bit water on the bottom, so we're kind of steaming it. We're not necessarily boiling it, so I'll show you that in a second. So that's starting to boil and starting to cook. Once the vegetables start to boil, you just turn off the stove. But okay, so we have this, and now I'm going to add my sour cream. So it's about a 1/4 cup per recipe. I'll just use this to get all that sour cream in there. Yummy. Oh. So if you think about healthy wise, not for the faint of heart. It's got cream and sour cream, but oh my gosh, it's so worth it. Okay, I'm going to put this aside and do a little taste of the sauce. Okay, that's really good. Probably could add a little salt and pepper, but I feel like it depends on what people like. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt and pepper, and just a little bit. And then we can always add more per dish. Do you know what I mean? So I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna turn the stove up a little bit, let it simmer. All right, that's it. That's your beef stroganoff. Oh, it's gonna be so good on your noodles. Cover that. Okay, I'm gonna show you my vegetables. Okay. Grab this towel. So if you see, can you see that? Ooh, I'm gonna put this here for a minute. See, that's enough. I'd rather it be a little crunchy than not crunchy enough. So I'm just going to, I'll just use the spoon. It's okay. I'll put some veggies in here. That is so beautiful. You know, broccoli, one time I made broccoli, I was like, what's that smell? You know what broccoli is, and cauliflower, they have so much calcium and it's so good, potassium, I mean. And it's so good for you. You eat broccoli every day, I think you would be so healthy. So I'll put a little bit more in there. See, you notice there's not much water in there at all. It's just for the purpose. Now, another dish, you could also do green beans or asparagus. It's fabulous with this dish. But I add the red peppers just for color because it is just a plain brown dish, right? So, okay. Oh, I turned on the wrong thing. Goodness. Okay. So we have that. See how it's simmering? So good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and rinse this spoon off because it's got broccoli in it. Let's go ahead and put some on here. This over. I'm going to just put it on the side here. And now if you're feeding, if you're thinking about feeding a ton of people, okay, I'm going back and forth. But see how it's a little bit thin, but it's okay. You can also thicken it more with like some cornstarch. It's just your preference. So I'm just going to put this in here, a little bit in here. And you could put it on top, you can eat it all, but like for leftovers purposes, you might want to have your noodles on the side and have your noodles on the side. Okay. And then you can, so for leftovers, you can have a delicious leftover, so it doesn't get all soggy and soaked into the noodles, so you can have it separately. Okay, so I'm going to, where's my, pasta's back here. I'm just gonna a little bit and taste it. Just a bite. Let's put a little, you can use fresh green onions and chives and chop it up, but I'm just gonna put a little parsley just for look, but I think there's a lot of color in the veggies. And so that's boiling over, but I'm just gonna add a tiny bit to taste my mushrooms. I like it kind of undercooked. So let's take the noodles. Okay, I would thicken it a little bit more, but oh, now it's gonna be hot. Ooh. I like my mushroom just like that. Love it. So good. Okay. You guys, go make this. This didn't take long. And you wouldn't do 4 times like I did. You would do like, I think 1 batch would probably feed 4 adults maybe. So, okay, beef stroganoff. Isn't that gorgeous? Easy, cheesy, lemon squeezy. I always say lemon peasy, easy peasy. I don't know. Okay, till next time, happy cooking.